And it's Friday.
Happy Friday.
I tell you what, it felt like Friday for days. I'm so screwed up by Thanksgiving, which I know was not yesterday, but
well,
wow.
I'm glad it's really Friday.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad it's really Friday too. I am glad.
And I'm glad we have a race this weekend. Oh,
yes.
We got Roger Chaffee in the house.
Okay.
We haven't seen him in a while.
Wow, there you go, Roger.
One more
Roger.
lawn chair.
One more lawn chair, that's right. That's awesome. And it's great to see you guys. And where's me? Here I am. Coming to you from the No Gloom Ballroom here in the heart of summer.
Mm-hmm. In the heart of what?
The heart of summer.
Is that where it is? We're in space? You're in space?
Summer space.
Summer space.
Summer not.
I tell you what.
Tell me what.
I would have been in summer space growing up all the time. That way I wouldn't have had to go to school.
Huh? What do you mean?
Space.
What does that mean?
Because you don't go to school in the summer.
Yeah, but you're from where it's always summer.
Oh, you're talking about the
swamp.
It's cool outside here now.
Yeah, no, it's real nice here.
I mean, it's 80 degrees like in Minnesota today.
Well, it's not bad for Minnesota. They're doing all right.
In December?
I don't know. I'm not doing the global thing. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
It's Friday. I'm ready to.
Happy Friday.
It's been a crazy ass week. I've had to learn a bunch of new ski. And I got to tell you, I'm setting up. I'm doing the Roy Orbison thing with Bruce and Keith and Chris, and Frank and Barry.
Yeah.
And Mark and Joe.
What the hell?
Crew guys. Mark and Joe.
Yeah.
And now you scared me, and
your brain's fried.
My brain is not fried.
He's been taking studying.
What have I been doing?
You've been studying.
Oh yeah, I've been studying because we're doing. I'm sure I said it before. We're doing a documentary style presentation, and so I have to create, excuse me, the visual that goes along with that. And it's so I've got all new editing software, and I hopped up the machines and did all the craziness, and man, it's amazing to learn something that steep a learning curve at losing my timing this late in my career. Send in the clones.
Please, I already had to listen to freaking Joni Mitchell.
Oh, listen, Joni. We received a novel. Not we.
No, I did.
Yeah, received an island gift.
Should we wait till he comes on?
I don't know. Is he not on?
You know, do you see anybody?
I
in
don't.
there?
I don't.
No, I think we need to wait for Linny. Oh, let's hit that start button. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, there you go. Boom. So there you. Okay, so that's it. So for the rest of the season. Oh.
Ah, this could be the culprit.
Oh no. Well, which culprit?
The Joni Mitchell culprit.
It is not the Joni Mitchell culprit. It is not.
Okay.
It is the mousy culprit.
Mousy.
Yep.
She would never send me a Joni
No,
Mitchell CD.
she would not do that. I know that she wouldn't
Only
do that.
Lenny.
Hi, kids.
Hey, man. How's it going?
How are you?
She would not do that. Good, I'm
Wait,
good.
Why is it, what am
I'm,
I hearing? You got your sound up?
No,
there?
she don't. Yeah,
I turned it off.
Okay. Sound.
my sound engineer over here.
Nice.
Emmy award winning. No. So what's going on in your world? No gig tonight.
No gig tonight, and I'm literally not going to leave my house until I get on a plane for Italy next week, because last week at a gig that I did at a club that I was front of house for a million years, at this club in Montclair called Just Jake's. And my son was actually there doing the DJ thing. By the way, he complained the entire time that he did not want to do this gig for 4 hours at $100 an hour, which ended up being 6 hours, cash money, my equipment. My husband helped him load in. We helped him load out. And afterwards, he's like, "Oh, that was a pretty good gig." I'm like, "Seriously, bro?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do that." I said,
How old is the young man in
34.
question?
He's 34. And I said to when?
34.
34.
I know. And I said to him, "Do you realize that the band who's coming on after you pack up your stuff," it was like this afternoon fun, is not making $600 of like 5 people in the band? So yeah, but everybody came away with COVID, 25 cases.
Wow.
So,
The bonus. The gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly. So now I just had my PCR test. It's negative. I am not moving until I get on that plane next week.
He didn't want to do that gig for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he's a spoiled brat is the reason, but whatever.
Well, apparently, if he's 34 and his dad's moving his gear for him.
Yeah, there's a.
How does that work?
You know what? I have to tell you, because I was always on the crew. My husband was always with the crew, even though he was the musician. He would always be that guy who would, roll in with me. And, he just helped me build my light show and my PA and things. So that's okay. I mean, it's all good. But I can't wait for a couple of other people to get on here, because I have an interesting question for everybody tonight.
Oh, excellent.
And an issue that came to me. What's up with Angus?
What do you mean?
He's, I'm not sure. He's just kind of hanging out there in the netherworld.
Hi, Angus.
He had to
There
pick
he
the
is.
right
How
background.
come you don't have him?
Hey.
I was waiting for my video to start.
Oh, I was waiting
have
for
it
the
on
video.
light.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Christmas.
Maybe
Oh,
it's too soon.
Nice. Festive, Angus.
Very festive.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Thanks, Lori.
I'm
That's
going
what
to
I was-
move a little bit to my left so you can see who's here. And behind me,
Oh,
there he is.
that's Miles Davis.
Who? Miles Davis?
This is Miles Davis. Chloe Bowie, his little sister, is running around here somewhere. But yeah, that's Miles Davis. Because-
So good.
And the way he got the name is because Miles Davis would never drink out of a plastic cup.
What?
So, no, Joe Morello was telling me the story of how he was doing, a clinic at some college. And, the college kids come and pick you up at the airport and bring you, wherever. And when they were backstage, they were like, "Mr. Davis, can we get you anything?" He says, "Yeah, I'll have a glass of water." And the kid hands him and he goes like this in that voice, "I don't do plastic."
Hey, good for him.
Well, you know,
No.
So the kid runs in and like gets an old coffee cup or something and washes it out and gives it to him. So when we first rescued Miles, who is from Missouri, from they found him roaming the streets. He wouldn't drink out of plastic.
wow.
He would only drink out of like a metal bowl or a glass dish. So
He
that's
must
why
know
we named him
something.
Miles Davis.
That's very
Well, you
funny.
know, Miles,
Angus, are you frozen? Or are you just sleeping?
He's not. He's.
Something.
you know, the real Miles, not the real, but
He's
the
a little
man
cold.
Miles Davis is from a very well-off family. His father was a dentist. So, I imagine he didn't have to drink out of plastic cups.
Well, excuse you.
I get probably out of crystal.
Okay. Let me know when we have enough people for the topic. Here comes.
Yes. Let us know when we can.
Here comes
Smashing of the
here comes
sequel.
King.
Wow! Oh,
Now,
look at me!
Elvis is a kitten up a tree.
Look at that! And hyperdrive to boot.
And is that a subwoofer? Is that a subwoofer over your shoulder?
Let's go with subwoofer. Okay.
Okay.
Wait. That's a spaceship?
What do you mean?
That's the Millennium Falcon.
That's
Oh,
the
okay.
Millennium
Yes.
Falcon.
Okay, so it's like a Star Trek spaceship.
No,
No,
close.
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
I'll move
Same
out the way.
genre.
You see it, yeah.
See?
And
The
That's
cockpit.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome. And you look good in there.
Yeah, you look badass, man. You look
Commander.
badass.
Oh,
It's
man.
Han,
The commander.
it's Han Solo's brother bass.
Okay. We're not gonna wait for
From
Very
the
good.
very, very bad.
I think everybody
I like-
needs to be in on this.
Yeah.
This is
Oh.
Lenny.
Joe Castelli. Oh, okay. Let's line them up.
Is it Lenny?
No, it's not Lenny. Not yet.
Okay.
Lenny's
Lenny's
probably
in
hiding.
Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Yeah, we saw he's with
oh.
his family, and that's
Hi,
why.
Joe.
Hi,
Hey.
Joe.
Hey, Joe.
I want to be here for the question.
Oh,
Oh, you see? These people are
Okay,
listening.
wait. Now, do you remember last week or the week before? The question was, who influenced you musically
Who?
in your life? And Lenny said Joni
Who
Mitchell.
inspired you? I think it was. Who was
Lenny
your?
said Joni Mitchell, and I just said, why? Because I really didn't understand. Well, I get this in the mail from Lenny.
oh, what an album. What
Which-
an album.
You can have it. Because I have heard Joni Mitchell more times than I care. My friend.
Different Joni Mitchell, though, Lori. Different. You're thinking of like Big Yellow Taxi, and this is like jazz Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, this is Jocko. This is Brecker. This is Matheny.
Can
this
I?
is, like,
First of all, can
I
I?
don't like jazz.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, but
It's not only does my Cajun New Orleans bride not like spicy food, she doesn't like jazz either. She's like a unicorn. Like she's like the
In
New
New Orleans,
Orleans.
that's definitely the case. Yes.
And I don't like Joni Mitchell's voice. I'm sorry. I don't like Bob Dylan's voice. I don't like
Wow.
Joni.
Well, Bob
Yeah.
Dylan's voice, I'm there with you.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it's like turn it off already. So
You know, it also, in defense, Mousy, it depends how and when you get introduced to that thing.
That
You know
is
what I
true.
mean?
That is true.
And,
oh, we got some more stuff.
yeah, okay. It's let me tell you what, we were we were driving down here, driving to Florida on a vacation after a tour, and we usually don't listen to anything, right? But I'm in a mood. I'm in the mood to listen to some Cosa Nostra, the Jeff Beck group, you know, some ice cream cakes or whatever, you know. And I don't remember what I put on,
It
and
was horrible.
she freaked out.
It was like
Freaked out. Turn that off now, please. What is that? Oh God!
scratching your nails on a chalkboard.
Too many notes.
Wow, everybody's coming in. Hey, Keith.
Hey, Keith.
Yes.
Hey, Keith.
Everybody's in this. Okay.
Hi,
How
hi.
you doing?
Oh, where's Verge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for the first year that I worked with his band, that our band worked with Verge's band, that I thought his name was Virgil. I thought his name was, everybody called him Verge. So
Oh, you're talking about me.
yeah, I'm talking
Yeah.
about
We can't see
Verge.
I just got my sound on. I just turned it on. I hear Virgil. I say, oh boy. Hello, Mousy. It's
Where's
so
your
nice
face,
to see you.
Anthem?
We can't see you, Verge.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? What do I got to do? What?
Turn your video on.
Say with video. Join with
Uh,
video.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You got it. You can get it.
I'm gonna
Hey.
call in
There
Cheryl.
he is.
There he is.
Oh.
Hello, everybody.
I'm gonna call in Cheryl over here.
I feel all excited and shit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Call her in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The LD.
Yeah.
I think
So Steve, along that line with, I took, my first wife. I remember when we were just dating, and I took her to a show, and on the way there, I said, "You like jazz?" And she goes, "I like Chuck Mangione." I said, "Ooh, I'm in trouble." I took her to see, I took her to see Chick Corea, the Music Magic Band, with Tom Bretline and Bunny Brunell, and Don Elias. And the band was on fire. And I looked over at her and I said, "I'm going to have to leave this show."
Or not get
Oh,
another
no.
Really?
Seriously.
I had a similar experience, not with jazz, but one of many. I'm a classic Star Trek guy. You know what I mean? Love it. We all sit around in the dressing room.
Booker this because he's a
Knocking back to the. We're watching the thing where Spock dies, and I can't leave the theater because I'm crying. I'm destroyed, and I've got napkins stuck all over my face, and I just I don't want to leave now.
Him and his friend were crying.
And she's sitting there like stone faced. And I said, Spock died, Spock, Spock. And she said, "Hey, Steve, they're your friend."
Yeah.
Wow.
It did not affect
Would
me.
do the same thing.
It's like a movie. He wasn't really dead. If it was a dog, now I would have been crying.
Oh, okay.
But let's say hi to
Let's say-
Keith's other half. That she's gone now.
Now she's gone. That's right. Here she
She's
comes,
back. She's back.
Hi.
adjusting
What
the
a
lights.
great shot you set up.
Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful shot.
Verge, what?
Hey, speaking of jazz, I've got a funny thing that somebody said. It just reminded me. I hadn't thought of it in years. Quite a long time ago, I was doing a tour in South Africa with Blondie Chaplin, and his original band there was called the Flames.
Everybody's telling me, "Oh shit, I guess so."
It's called what?
I think Rich has to start his set.
Is it?
Oh. Have a good set, Verge.
Do you have to play tonight, Rich?
Hello.
Are you
Yeah.
playing tonight, Rich?
Yeah, I was just hanging out, listening to you guys talking, man. It's very interesting.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Keith was there. Please, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Keith.
Blondie Chapman.
Yes.
Yeah, Chaplin. And yeah. So
What a nice.
when we were kids down there, his well-known band was called the Flames. So they were doing a reunion tour, and the bass player was no longer with us. So he asked me to come with him because we have a band in New York. And so the drummer who was with us was a real South African dude. And I think he was from Durban. He was from, I don't know what, he was a Xhosa guy or something like that. So there was this one song, and the guitar player in the band at the time, one of the guitar players said, so what are the chord changes of this? And the drummer said, "Hey man, it's jazz. Press anywhere." And he wasn't making a joke.
Wow.
All right there, Rich.
Hello,
It's
guys.
nice to be in
Aruba.
Yeah, he's in Aruba, guys. So yeah, you got
Using
to.
Aruba.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I'm going to have to
Bye.
go soon, but I just wanted to say one thing. Today, I was thinking about how different it is today than it was a year ago.
Yeah,
Am I right or am I wrong? But yeah, it was, well, for me anyway, you know, I was not working. You know, I'm working now, and yeah, it's yeah, I don't know how we did it. It was you know, month to month to month.
Yeah,
So,
well,
yeah.
you know,
Hear it for us.
yeah, here, yeah, three
Yay.
cheers for us.
Because we all
Everybody stuck
survived.
together.
We all survived and we're stronger because of it. I'm sure. So, hey, I'm gonna have to go back on, but God bless you guys. Happy holidays, all that stuff.
Bye,
I'll be seeing you
Rich.
soon.
I got you, Verge,
care.
all
man.
right, man.
Angus,
Okay,
nice to
Verge.
see you, Mousy,
Take care,
and you
Verge.
other guys as well.
And take
Thanks
some,
for coming, Verge.
take
All right,
some,
take care.
put some drunk
All right,
twerk
see
for
ya.
the
Okay,
show. Yeah,
I
you
don't know how
look
to
like
get
you're at a
out.
resort.
Okay, you ready for the question today?
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
yes. I
what's
think
the
we have. I
question?
think we have an
Wait, wait,
august
what
crowd.
is Keith's woman's name?
Shara.
Shara.
Her name is
Hi, Shara.
Hi, Sharon.
Shara.
Fun.
See, now I'm tempted to make a
joke?
name joke, but I'm not going to go there.
Shara? Are you gonna share him?
Yeah.
Go on.
Boy, you read my mind, huh?
I know who you are.
But now I'll always remember.
Well, because of the girl that Mark.
'cause
whatever
Oh,
her
oh
name
no,
was.
no, her name was Thea.
Right, and his guitar player said, "This is Thea."
This is Thea, and I said, "Oh, do you realize that means goodbye?" And she said, "Really? It does?" And I said, "Yeah, Thea."
He does not say these things to be mean.
No,
Did she ever
it's-
speak
Here
to you
comes
again?
Jeffrey.
Oh, Jeffson.
Did what? Did what, Booker?
Did she ever speak to you again?
No, I don't think so. I don't know that
Yeah, he spoke to you again.
Mark did. Yeah,
He had to. He
I was the one
on air.
paying everybody. He had to speak to me.
What's up,
How you
Jeff?
doing, Jeff?
Hi, everybody.
And where are
Hey, how you doing?
I'm in Milwaukee.
It's really dark where you.
You're in
Oh,
Milwaukee. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
yeah,
you? Is your mom with you?
yeah,
Oh,
yes.
I'm in the rooftop bar of the Pfister Hotel, which is a grand hotel in downtown Milwaukee. And we got stranded here because our flight got delayed, and we're ending up spending the night in Milwaukee.
Oh boy, are you
Oh.
gonna have that? That's
It's not cold
great.
there.
Lucky
Milwaukee.
boy.
Yeah.
I'm on my first new old-fashioned.
Yeah, and you're not paying for the room.
My first
hey, I
new
would
old
enjoy
fashioned. Yeah,
There
man.
you
It.
go.
Burn it up,
It's
man.
like free vacation, man.
But wait, we before we lose the connection, Mousy has been waiting patiently
she's got a
with
question.
the
A
ethereal
sub
I don't
question.
care.
Would you
I
forget
have wine.
now?
I don't care. Everything.
Oh, no. I want to know what the question
Steve
is.
loves your question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll real quickly preface the question with the fact that I am not leaving my house until I have to get on the plane to go to Italy in a few days because of all the COVID craziness.
Mhm.
So I was supposed to see Genesis in 2 days. And, you know, okay, I was going to go see Genesis. No big deal, one way or the other, to me, to tell you the truth at this point. But I asked my niece, do you want to go see Genesis in my place? And she said to me, I don't really know their songs. I don't know any of their songs. I thought back to the days that if one person asked me to go to a show, I would just be like, okay, having no idea of their songs, who they were, you just were going to the show, right? When I remember working at the Capitol Theater, and like I remember coming in on the weekend and saying to the other people, so who's playing tonight? And they'd be like, some people called the Doobie Brothers. And I was like, oh, who the hell are they? And they'd be like, we don't know. And then we'd be like, wow, what a great band this is. So, you just listen to
It
things.
could go the other way.
That's
Oh,
how
well,
it was
and
for her.
here's my question. So there were times when I was pleasantly surprised by a show that I didn't think, oh, I really don't want to go to the show. And
Yeah.
the show that kind of blew my head off was going to see John Denver, which I was like, I don't want to go see John Denver. But some guy that I was dating said, oh, my cousin really wants to go. You know, can you go with me? And his band was phenomenal. The show was phenomenal. He was phenomenal. And I wanted to ask, I'm sure everybody here has had an experience where you went to a show and were like not expecting or didn't know what to expect, and you were just completely like blown away by it. So that is my question to everyone. What is your show?
Absolutely. I got one.
Okay.
A long time ago, I was hanging out in London and with some good friends, and it was a real long time ago, like 1970 or something like that. And we had never tried acid before.
Yeah.
And so a bunch of us tried it. And we went out, and of course, things were rather different.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended up at a concert of Heads, Hands, and Feet, which featured Albert Lee.
Oh, wow.
What was the name of the band?
We couldn't even, being on acid and that, we couldn't actually look each other in the eye. It was, we were just sitting there. We'd never seen anything like it in our lives. Albert Lee, and I'm talking like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, and we didn't even know where we were. We were just like, oh, there's music coming from that place over there. And it was kind of a concert hall, and we bought tickets and went in.
That's
That happened to you
that's
with
I have my own acid story.
I have many
Don't
acid
we all?
In the days of the Fillmore, when the Fillmore was downtown, we went to see Hawkwind, I think it was.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But the opening band was this guy with an acoustic guitar called Jethro Tull.
Oh,
Wow.
And he's singing, "People, what have you done?"
the deep voice. The deep
and
voice.
it's like I had never heard him before,
It was just
right?
Ian
And
Anderson?
it was Jethro Tull the band, but I didn't know what
Sort of-
Jethro Tull. I thought it was a guy on a frickin' stool, and you guys are opening for Hawkwind. Come on, man!
That's the first
And
concert
and
I-
when the band came in, it scared the shit out of me so bad. I don't think I was down in my seat for like 3 songs.
Me too, because he had this cod piece on, and
Different.
it was like, what? I was a young girl, and that was the first concert I went to, and I was tripping, and I thought it was a guy named Jethro Tull.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Everyone did. Everyone did.
Yeah. Anyway,
I got a good one.
Okay.
I got a good one. I went and saw Sly and the Family Stone at the Garden.
Ooh.
Sly was late all
Always.
of the
All the
time.
fun. Yep.
Same thing at
Right.
the Capitol.
And his opening act was this little band from Jamaica called Bob Marley and the Wailers. We hadn't heard of them.
Nice.
We hadn't heard of them before, right? They came on and they started playing this stuff. About the middle of the second song, Sly could have stayed his ass backstage.
Wow.
Yeah,
That must
it
have
was
been
that
epic.
good. It was,
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
it was
Yeah, I
like
believe that. I
blown
believe
away. And of course, we know he's a legend. And I got another one. My sister went to that little show at Forest Hills with the Monkeys, and she
Oh.
said she was one of those people
Jimi
that
Hendrix,
booed
right?
Jimi
Hendrix.
Hendrix.
Oh,
And she
man.
said, to this day, she's ashamed of it.
Wow.
Wow. Did she go to see Jimmy or the Monkeys?
She went to see the Monkeys.
Yeah, she's booing Hendrix.
Oh my God.
Booing Hendrix.
Well, I've got one that I don't think Joe
Oh,
Castilli
man.
will like, but I got it. It's a kind of opposite. This had to be 1980, I guess, and I was living in the Panhandle of Florida, waitressing, being a beach bum during the day with my girlfriend, and we were just, we had just graduated or whatever, a few years before that. And we met we went to see Fleetwood Mac, and we met the promoter, and he said, oh, I promote shows in New Orleans all the time. And we said, oh, well, we're going back there. And he said, you want to go see the Cars? And I said, I'd love to go see the Cars. He said, all right, go to the French Quarter to the Maison Dupree Hotel bar, and the road crew will be in there, and I'll leave tickets for you and your friend there. So I said, great. So we go in there. It's a tiny little bar. Now, I don't know what the road crew looks like, so I see this
and
guy.
how old are you, you skinny, prissy bitch?
24 maybe.
So right before me.
Yeah, right before you.
Oh.
I was broken up with Felix. So I see a guy with long dark hair with like one of those sweatbands on, you know, like a roadie would wear, and he's sitting at the bar. And I said, excuse me, are you a roadie for the Cars? And he went, no, I'm the drummer in the Grateful Dead. It was Mickey Hart.
Mickey Hart.
And I said, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And he said, why? And I said, oh, because I'm supposed to get tickets for the Cars. He said, well, why don't you come see the Grateful Dead? And I went, I don't know any of your songs.
Well, we only have one song.
Yeah. And then he said, well, you know, Truckin', Bourbon Street, because we were in the French Quarter. I went, oh, yeah, that's you guys? And I said, but I want to go see the Cars. And he said, well, we're playing tomorrow night. Will you come then? And I said, okay.
No, he said we'll still be playing tomorrow night.
We'll still be playing.
The same song.
And
we're still
5 years. Oh my God. And I went in, me and my friend went in, and everybody in this place was tripping, and the band was horrible, and they had 2 drummers, and he said to me, and we play 4 hours and we take an intermission. I'm like, yeah, bullshit. It was like, oh my God, it was horrible. But they took us to dinner before the show, and that was really nice. And they had 2 other girls with them. Like, they didn't hit on us or anything. They were just very nice guys. Him and Bill Kreutzmann.
Billy Kreutzmann.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my story.
See, Mousy, you're either on the bus or you're off the
Or you're
bus,
off the
right?
bus. Exactly.
And it's different
There's
than
been
your
some
story.
horrible Dead shows. I'm not going to lie. I've been in some of those shows just waiting for something good to happen. And then there's been a couple of shows that I've gone to that I'm like, okay, I either just saw Jesus or the Grateful Dead. I'm not sure which, because it was like the most mind-blowing experience, and they were so good. But they're so hit or miss.
Was Gaelic Park your first Dead show?
Gaelic Park was my first show. That was also the first time I saw Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And the Gaelic Park show, we took the train from New Jersey over to the Bronx. We climbed up, somebody made steps out of cinder blocks, and we climbed up the top of this building right outside of the park. There was like 1,000 people on this building top watching the Dead show. Gaelic Park was really tiny. And so, yeah, that was my first Dead show. That was 1972, I believe.
Wow.
So yeah, people were still supposed to be tripping then.
Yeah, they were supposed to be. Yeah. It was
kind of
bylaws.
In the 80s, like, you weren't tripping anymore, but everybody at the show were tripping, and it was like.
I was once in a band with a guy. I was always just a sub in this band. I wasn't in the band, but the singer was a complete deadhead. And I once went to play with them in Montauk, and I got a ride with him. Well, he was a total deadhead, and he had a live recording of the Dead. And it was in the days when you had cassettes in cars. Well, he put it in the cassette player, and the left side had the Dead and the right side had a radio station. And he still fucking listened to it for 2.5 hours. I couldn't believe it. I was sitting there with the Dead and a random radio station nonstop. And he was like, dude, this is great, dude. This is fucking great.
Well, have you ever heard anything like that since? No. That's, you're going to stand up. No.
All right, so Joe, what was yours?
Well, Gaelic Park was August 26, 1971.
Okay.
And if you want
I guess it was 71.
If you want the tapes, I'll send them to you. The recordings. Because when you posted it like a month or two ago, I found the tracks and I was going to send it to you, and then I forgot. But I'll send you that show.
Okay, so what was your surprise show? That you just didn't expect it to be good, and it turned out
as a sound person, I have tons of them. Where like I was like dreading doing a gig, like who are these guys? and then you start mixing and you're like, wow, this is a great band, you know.
Yeah.
But as a spectator, whatever, civilian, was
honey is gonna relax.
my daughter was in high school, and for a while she was talking to me about this guy Butch Walker, and I didn't want to go. It's another one of her bands, whatever. And then on a weeknight, she was still in high school. She said, can we go see Butch Walker at the Gramercy in New York City? I said, all right, I'll take you, but we'll drive in. We'll listen. We'll half hour. It's a school night, and then we're out of there. So we drive into the city, go in, walk in, and he's just getting on stage, and we're down on the floor, and he goes through 3 or 4 songs, and she turns to me and she's like, "Okay, Dad, we can go now." And I said, "I'm not leaving. This is the best show I've seen all year." And
Okay? Those little gifts.
And she looked at me and it's like shock. I'm like, "You're going to be late tomorrow because this is a great show." And then I've seen him many times since, but Butch Walker was amazing.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, Tom Heinisch hanging out on the beach. Nice to see you.
Yeah, are you in West
Hey,
Ham?
Howdy.
Do we have a first surprise concert?
A concert that you didn't know it was going to be as good, or a band that you've never seen before and were pleasantly surprised of how good they were?
I'd say off the top of my head, as mixing, I'd say Firefall blew me away.
Okay.
I didn't expect much, and it just blew me away as to how good they were.
I don't know
That works.
Firefall.
Firefall.
What was their hit that?
Just Remember I Love You, right?
There was a whole bunch of them.
All right. Yeah. They were kind of believe it or not, kind of a more chill version of America, if you could believe it.
Yeah, they were
If
on the
that's
same.
even possible.
They were on the same bill with Poco.
Okay,
And-
yeah, they were
And
that genre, yeah.
Poco was just way too loud, and everybody was complaining to me about them. And I said, "Hey, same sound guy, same sound system. Sorry."
different band.
All right.
All right, exactly.
All right.
All right, I got one. I got one.
Oh, good. Yes, the boy with the hat.
Or about I don't know, because about 7 years ago, Tommy Hammer, the keyboard player, Bookie, he used to work with Cyndi Lauper. In fact, he did an album with her, some special album or something like that. But she was playing down here, Ruth Eckert in Clearwater, and he had somebody leave 2 tickets for me and Franny to go see Cyndi Lauper. And I was like, I don't know, do I really want to go see Cyndi Lauper? We went anyway, and it was
Anyway.
The band was great. She was great. She was just, I've never seen anybody so comfortable on stage the way she was. And she told a little story before every song and everything, and it just blew me away.
Oh, cool. Steve, when
Right.
I was with Jack Bruce with those guys, and they did one
Oh,
song.
but that was a horrible experience.
Well,
And the problem is, if I was going there to see that in itself, I don't know if anybody remembers the I went to see Lee Michaels and Frosty at the Capitol.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
And they canceled. Now I'm in a Lee Michaels frame of mind, right? I'm
Yeah.
tripping.
yeah. It's been 14 days since I don't know when.
Don't know when.
And I take the acid and I go there and I am in that space. I am ready. And Lee Michaels canceled, and who is in his place? Tony Williams' Lifetime with
Oh.
Jack Bruce, Larry
Whoa.
Young, and John
John
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin, yeah.
And they were all on a different kind
And
of
they
drug.
were all on some. Jack Bruce had like 4 SVTs, 2 on 2, and he was so. I don't know. Can I say fucked up?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was so,
It's your show.
oh, right, okay. It was horrible. Like, it was just, they played one song. I passed out. I'm doing acid and passed out in the middle of the
Passed
song.
out on acid.
Oh, my God.
You should have heard this. It sounded like they were doing it.
Oh.
It was, and I love those. I mean, but it was the wrong night. Lee
Yeah.
Michaels.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just the chemistry of what's going on. But that is another band. When I was working at the Capitol, I came in and I was like, "Who is this? That's playing tonight?" And they were like, "The Mahu Vishnu Orchestra." And I was like, "An orchestra? I don't know."
Oh my God.
And then I was like converted, like I just,
Yeah.
honestly, like Birds of Fire, I just like wore that shit out.
Jesus,
I
that's
just wore it
unbelievable.
out and got
Yeah.
another copy. And, I mean, that was one of those life-changing shows. And another weird show, believe it or not, was I came in one night, and this is like mid 70s. I'm going to say 73. I worked there. And they said, "Oh, some people named the Pointer Sisters are playing tonight." So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, first of all, this is like old school Pointer Sisters, like funky soul. Their band was spectacular. They were like mind blowing again. And guess who the opening act was for the Pointer Sisters? The New Riders of the Purple Sage. John Scher used to do this weird shit where he put these strange acts together. And just like, all right, this is who's playing. It's kind of like Free for All Friday. Just whoever is just going, walk in the door kind of thing. So yeah, they were amazing too. And this was way before they did the whole, later disco kind of thing of We Are Family. This is when they were kind of like really a throwback.
No, that's
almost.
Sister Sledge.
Oh
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, right. This is when they were doing the whole Steam Heat and We Can and all
Yes,
that.
We Can.
Man,
I love that
their
stuff.
fucking band was just like
Henry
damn.
Jones, Henry don't eat no meat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had tickets to see Mott the Hoople, if you remember Mott the Hoople, at the Eurus Theater in New York. This is when Marionette first came out. We're like, oh, all Mott the... And the band that opened for them, if you do your math, was Queen.
And nobody had really heard of
that same show was at the Capitol and Mott the Hoople was like huge at the time.
Huge.
And I was like, who are these guys? Who the hell's Queen?
Yeah.
And then they came out. And you know what was weird though? I kind of like said, wow, these guys are going to be huge. I mean, they were just so good, but they kind of fell off the radar for a while. They really didn't get well known for a little bit in the past, like in the future. So I thought, oh, these guys are going to take the world by storm. And it just didn't happen right away. I mean, it took a while for them to really, it was more closer to like the 80s when they really started, kicking in there.
It was great when they used to have those shows with complete, like I lived in London at the time, and they used to always have these shows with completely different acts. Like I went to one at Crystal Palace, and I still actually somewhere have a cassette because I used to, with one of those little plastic Philips cassette recorders, I used to sit in the audience and record. And the show was dual headliner, Elton John and Yes. And Elton didn't even have funny clothes yet. so it was amazing. He
was still in like the Tumbleweed Connection kind of.
Exactly,
yeah, okay.
Exactly. And opening for Elton was a band called Hookfoot, who had originally played on his records. They had an amazing guitarist named Caleb Quay. And anyway, so that's all very well. There were two unknown to us, and it was a whole day at Crystal Palace. And I don't know if any of you have ever been to the venue, but you just sit, there's a lake and a band shell, and you sit round the lake, and it's really a racetrack. So they have a big problem with radio interference in the PA. But anyway, two acts that were on the bill in the afternoon, surprise, sort of special guests from America. And I'd heard of the one was Loggins and Messina, which was incredible.
They were amazing in their time with their great band.
And the next one was the Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Oh.
And it was like everyone there got into this completely different, all the acts were different. And Elton John and Yes were dual headliners. So the night that I saw them, Yes was the headliner. The next night, Elton was the headliner. But the Mahavishnu Orchestra, I've still got the tape somewhere, and I've got it on my computer somewhere as well. And they're playing, and you just hear me. I'm spoiling the music because I'm going, "Oh my God, oh my God!"
Yeah.
I just cannot believe like the fours between John McLaughlin and Billy Cobham. Oh my good Lord! And the guys in Yes, I don't think could believe it either, because they all ran to the front of the stage. You know, the band pit in front of the stage. You could see the guys in Yes just pointing and flipping out. It was unbelievable. And you had these concerts where it was bands that had nothing to do with each other, but the most incredible day of music starting at noon. I went home there. I couldn't sleep for a week.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can imagine.
So at the Crystal Palace, I immediately went to Breaking Bad, but it's
So Jeff,
there was a Crystal.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a legendary story of Crystal Palace, and I don't know how true it is, but it is legendary, which is that they often used to have big problems because it was a racetrack, a car racetrack. And there was a huge problem with radio interference in the PA.
Oh, wow.
And evidently, when the Beach Boys played, Keith Moon was in a helicopter and managed to tap into it and sang along with them all out of tune.
Oh my God.
I don't know how true that is, but it could be true.
I can tell you that it's very funny that you would say that, because that's John used to say that if Pete ran the Who, it would be like a jazz band, a trad jazz band. Right. And if Daltrey ran the Who, it would be like country and western. And if John ran the Who, it would be like Live at Leeds. And if Mooney ran the Who, it would be like the Beach Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Love the
Really?
Loved the Beach.
Wow.
Did you ever hear his recording of Barbara Ann?
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Remember the first Monty Python film? Now for something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
I went to it in London, and behind me, somewhere in the dark, there was someone who was ruining the film for everybody because he was laughing completely hysterically at every move on the screen, and people were just like, "Yeah, be quiet." Anyway, when the lights came up at the end and I turned around, it was Keith Moon in the dark. And he had really, and he was dressed in just a very long woolen sweater with nothing else on but a pair of cowboy boots.
Oh no.
And he'd ruined the film for everyone around him, and he didn't quite give a shit.
Well, unfortunately, he ruined a lot of things for a lot of people around him. But I'll tell you a very quick story that I heard from not one, but two completely different sources, both very credible in that band. That they were checking out of a hotel and they're going around. They're in the back of a limo and they're leaving the under, where you drive under the thing there. And he goes, wait, I forgot something. And he gets out of the car while it's moving and runs back into the hotel and goes, whatever he does. And he comes back 5 minutes later and they said, we're late. What'd you forget to do? He said, I forgot to smash the television. He threw the television out the window.
Yeah, they were getting sick of that too.
And Whistle told me that, and Pete told me that.
Yeah.
Two completely separate
Must have been very trying.
Yeah.
It was, it wasn't.
They didn't even unpack after a while because they knew they were going to get thrown out. So
It was. He was.
Like that story of the first tour they did of America where they made big money. And this is a long time ago. So each of them made about a paltry $500,000. And it was the first time that they'd ever earned big money. But it was also when Keith Moon started his Smashing Things antics.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a meeting, and I don't know how true all of this is. I think some of it's in that Moon book, which I did read. And they had one of those meetings where you go to the management office now to get your check for the tour. and each of them got, you know, $460,000, 700 and whatever it was. They each made about $500,000, and Moon got a check for something like $420. And he said, "What's this?" And they said, "Well, you know, you have to pay for everything that happened.
Yeah.
Cars and pools, televisions, hotel rooms destroyed, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "I don't care what it is you say that I did. This just ain't right."
And some of his things
Yeah,
went
well,
a little far, like when he threw the
Yeah,
explosives in the
they
elevator.
had the pyro guys had fixed it so that something was going to go off when he got in his, you know, when he went into his room. They had some kind of delayed fuse on something, and he got out of the elevator and went in his room and discovered this thing, whatever it was, and threw it into the elevator. Unfortunately, there was a woman with a little dog in there.
And it, did not.
So
was
yeah,
not good for the dog.
it was not good for the dog.
No.
So, you know, it's, you know, I mean, to a point, I mean, and most of the stuff that, unfortunately, a lot of the stuff that you hear is way too true.
Yeah.
And, you know, and John was Mooney's, you know, they were the sidekicks, you know what I mean?
Well, they used to room together.
And, you know, but there came a time when John just couldn't take it anymore because it got so... He used to dress up. Pete told, after John passed away, and I'm doing the documentary. I'm talking to Pete, and Pete tells me that one night, wherever they were playing, that Moon dressed up as John, and everything that John did
in the dressing room.
Yeah, and Mooney would do, and John would go. Mooney would go. And he was like driving him nuts out of his mind until John said, "Would you just stop it already?" And it was.
And the last recording they did with
Yeah, and the last recording that they did, they said, you know, "Keith, we need you to do some like My Generation kind of drums at the end, but you know, big fills, tom fills." And he goes in and stands behind the kit and says, "I was working at the lab late one night." And they said, that's great, Keith. We want, you know, that's not what we're looking for. We need some drum fills. And he goes behind the kit and he does the same thing again, and then hollers out, "Genius!" and walks out the side door. And that was the last time Entwistle ever saw him.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was very happy with him.
Yeah.
I saw them twice with Moon, and within the space of 1 week. The first one was at the Oval Cricket Ground, and I later actually met Pete and talked about this show with him. That's a whole other thing. But it was incredible. It was maybe, I would have to say, as far as a rock concert goes, it was The Who at the Oval Cricket Ground in London, and the hit was Won't Get Fooled Again, and you know, the keyboard started in the dark, and the crowd went crazy. The opening act was Rod Stewart and the Faces. Yeah, and it was just completely incredible. And then a week later, I went to see them at the Rainbow Theatre, and they were worse than the very worst Bleecker Street band you ever saw. They were out of tune, out of time, didn't give a shit. It was just so up and down, you know?
Wow.
And largely because of Keith Moon, because if the drummer is really out to lunch on a certain night, you've got an out to lunch night, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was, you know, and it's, you know, but listen.
You know, probably a lot more stories. So
I know a couple. I know a couple.
Anybody recognize the cake behind me?
I do. My cake, and I do.
See it. Nice.
My cake.
Man, let me tell you what. Are you going to go for it, Jeff?
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, you can't.
Thinking about hi Mousy, hi Joe, hi Booker, hi Angus.
Jeffrey,
So Jeff,
hi, honey.
what was your band that you were surprised by?
I was going to Asbury Park Convention Center to see UK.
Oh.
And
with Eddie Jobson, you were at the real one with Bill Bruford.
The roofer?
Yep.
Nice.
And the opening band was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Wow.
I'd never heard of them before. I sat there and was mesmerized by Petty. I thought, wow, this guy's got the X factor.
Yeah.
And, I was in the mood for progressive rock, but their shit was great. And it was, it was killer. The other one is Genesis. Somebody mentioned Genesis earlier, Mousy.
Yeah, Mousy.
That would be me.
I had discovered the Foxtrot album. I was going to Juilliard. I was like, this is the shit I wanted to do, rock-wise, concert-wise, orchestral-wise, and these guys are doing it. We go to see their first performance at Lincoln Center at Philharmonic Hall. We didn't know what they were all about. Gabriel comes out in a black cape with day glow makeup on one side of his mask and his face on the other side. And I'm like, oh shit, it's a fucking, satanic Ozzy Osbourne. Don't tell me it's that. Because I love the album. I knew the fucking album. I was like, this is great. That drummer, oh my God, what he was doing in Watcher of the Skies blew my head off. And I was like, okay. Fredzo was there, Mousy, Gary, the whole band. I brought the whole band. I brought everybody I could find that wanted to go. And we sat there, and fourth row center was just blown away.
I remember Fredo telling me about that show, how it was like one of the top shows of his life that just really made him say, this is what I need to be, like, one of those epiphany situations where this is what I'm not even questioning being in this business anymore, because this is what I need to be around.
He flipped out over the sound of Phil Collins' bass drum. And he only played a 20-inch bass drum, I think, back then.
Yeah.
And he was set up on the stage, no riser. There was no sets. It was just Peter and his costumes. And, Peter played a little kick drum on the stage and did tambourine things. And it was mind-blowing. I mean, they were just incredible. That was.
I saw them do Lamb Lies Down. And, pretty wild.
I drove to the Civic Center in Philadelphia to see that concert because we were working so much. If a band was within 100 miles of you and you really wanted to see him, you just went to go see him.
Yeah, exactly.
So Godspeed
even if you didn't know their songs, right?
Godspeed drove all down to Philadelphia to see them at the Civic Center do the Lamb Lies Down. And, it was incredible. The other one was I took a Greyhound bus with my girlfriend at the time to Montreal to see Yes do Tales of Topographic Oceans on a day. It was a Monday, so I said,
let's take a bus to Canada.
Yeah. And stayed overnight and came home the next day and went to the Brass Bell or Dodds or wherever. And,
yeah.
Dodds!
Started the next week.
I saw Yes's first gig with Rick Wakeman.
Really?
In London, yeah. And it was only a few weeks, or I think it was, it's a long time ago, but I saw them on that show I told you about at Elton John. And
right.
Yes, and
right.
Tony Kaye was the organ player. And, it was an otherwise experience, yes, because the sun was just bleeding through the clouds and Crystal Palace and Seen All Good People and the joints passing around and,
Right.
John Anderson and his unicorns.
all of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
then,
I have to get this in here really quick. This was my experience last night in Milwaukee, the last show of the Copeland Police Deranged for Orchestra concert. And this is what happened at the last song before the encore.
Oh.
That's
you
Jeff
see
by
me?
the kick pedal.
Pedal?
Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah, I can see your legs, Jeff.
The bass drum, the double bass drum pedal linkage broke at the bass drum, not at the sub pedal.
Oh.
So I had to dive under there because Stuart turns around. I'm backstage, gives me that look of panic. It's like stamps on the pedal and nothing's happening. It's like, oh shit.
Oh, man.
So I dive in there and I'm trying to get the link back in. And he's noodling on the hi-hat at the time or something. And he starts whacking the snare drum. And I'm like,
right by your head.
I'm fucking. I did this for years with the police and it blew my hearing out. I am not doing this tonight.
Oh, man.
So I bailed. He finished the song without it. And then there was a break before the encore, and then I went in and fixed it. But it was like, oh no.
You know,
Because I didn't have my innards in, because it's an orchestral concert. He plays more under control because, you know, you have to try to help the orchestra be heard. And I'm backstage, like completely removed. So it's not loud. But when I went under there and I have my hearing aids on, and they were, you know, they pick up all the high end of everything.
You have to turn them off.
Oh
man.
no, I'm out. I'm out.
He doesn't
Wow.
bring a spare pedal.
Well, it's
No, it was
First
just
of all-
easy. I just had to hook the rod back up to the main pedal, but it wasn't going in quickly, and I had to loosen the screw. And then as soon as you started hitting that snare drum, I was like, nah, I'm out.
I personally, I hate double pedals. If you're gonna play two bass drums, play two bass drums.
Yeah.
And you know, it's double pedal. It's like it's the same sound. It's like da 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 da. There's no loping to it. There's no swing to it. It's it's I don't know. It's just. Especially when you play as a drummer, when your beater is against the head and the other beater hits the same head, it doesn't feel the same as two. It's
That's what you grew up with, Steve.
Yeah.
Guys today
Yeah,
grew up
this
with this
is a-
double pedal on a single bass drum, and that's what they're used to. Stewart uses it more as like a flam or a drag. And then occasionally he get out there and do the, for the big buildup. And he's a lefty, so it's easy for him, with the left foot on the pedal.
That's funny because I'm a righty, but I play lefty feet.
Ah, so you'll start your roll thing with the left foot.
Yeah.
I do that as well. Whenever I played around with it, and I don't play it, I fooled around with it, but I always start it with the left.
Because of that, all my combinations and every fill and everything that I do is completely different because of that directional thing. Because it's different math is all it is, and you wind up being faced with different choices because now I'm here. It's just it's a lot like guys like Cobham, who made a living out of just doing things not conventional. That's that's what it was always about for me. It was never, I used to think that I was competitive, that I was going to be better than you, and that's really not what it was going to be, because there's no competition. I am the only me, and you're not going to ever do me better than me, so there is no competition because I'm chasing my own thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it took me a little while to realize that, to get that perspective on it. But it's whatever.
I mean, that's why I hear people saying that Ringo's fills are different because he's a lefty playing on a right-handed kit. So he sticks it different according to the rudiments that he's practiced.
He leads with the left. That's what it is. Stewart does the same thing. He's
Michael
lefty.
John does that too, Jeff. You remember when you sat on my kid's kit and you said to me, is he left-handed? But he has it set up like righty, but he plays, yeah. And it is. It's a different dynamic a little bit, because it's just, it's kind of like writing with the opposite hand of what is your dominant hand.
Right.
So this is the Encore Changeover.
Well, there you go.
My butt in the air.
It looks a lot like Keith Moon to me.
Passed out under the drums. Now, where was the famous show where Moon physically fell off the drums, could not play, and the hoop
Cow Palace, I think. Cow Palace, maybe, when the kid came up and played. I think it was
Oh,
a Cow
they asked
Palace.
if there was a drummer in the audience.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
San
I mean, that's just
He took elephant tranquilizer.
Wow.
Elephant tranquilizer.
Angel dust.
I heard Pete Townsend in an interview saying about Moon. He said, when he was on, he could take us to places that we would never be able to go.
Right.
But he said when he was off, it was the most
that-
awful ride of your life. It was, yeah.
Well, remember, and listen, I've witnessed that, and the thing about it was that and I saw him play a couple of times. I saw him at Forest Hills, and I didn't know him, and I didn't know John back then either. But John used to say, and I could totally relate to it, that he would play with everybody in the band. When he was locked into what the singer was doing, he would be playing along with that. And when he was locked into what John was doing, he would play along with that or play along with Pete. And that's why he was like mimicking their parts. And that's why it was so eccentric, and that's why it worked so well, because when they were on, it was tight as it could be.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's funny because when we were doing the Vampires, this is a really weird story. We were doing the Vampires record in '97. We're looking for material, right? And John had a tape room with all, up on wherever it was, the third floor, with all 2 inches from this and that and the other thing. And he was looking for this track. He said, I have this track that I never finished, that we could finish it. He said, if I could find it. And all of a sudden, a tape falls over up on the shelf for absolutely no frickin' reason. Just bang, it falls over. And he gets it and he goes, this could be it, this could be it. And he had took some songs where Kenny Jones was playing on the demos, and we wiped Kenny's parts and we reworked the song. And so we take this tape downstairs, and it's called Bogeyman. And I'm listening to it, and it's frickin' Keith Moon playing drums. And I said to John, is that Mooney? And he said, I don't know. And we look at the track list, remember, and sure enough, man. So I said, we gotta he could be on our record. Think about that. And if you hear what he plays on it, he's just playing he's Keith Moon that you want him to be, playing all these fluid tom fills, and just being as poetic and rhythmic as and it was just mind-boggling. And then to see where it wound up was not fun.
And he was a young guy when he died. He was only like 32 or something, wasn't he?
Very young, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, listen, that's a hard road, man. It's a hard road.
It seemed like when we all got the news, it seemed like rock and roll's longest running predicted bad outcome. Like it seemed like we'd all been waiting for this for years, and he was only 32.
He was on the death watch.
Yeah. It's, but that's, and listen, you can analyze it 1,000 different ways, and I only got to know Mooney through John's eyes and through the stories of that, and if having played with John, I know what he expected, of the other half of the rhythm section, and I can also imagine that when that wasn't there for him, well, I know for a fact that he lost. He lost another vote in that band to keep it the way that it was. And then they got Kenny Jones, who John describes as a much tidier drummer.
Boring.
And, yeah. So,
Zach Starkey's good with them.
I tell you what, there's nobody else in the world that would be better. And I'll tell you why. You would think I played with John for 15 years, and we really were that version of we were that over the top, let's jam, let's play as loud as we can, as fast as we can. But there's no place for that in the Who of today. Now. Yeah. There's no place for, Pete does not want to crank up his Fender amps.
They're very much more organized. They have big bands and everything's all organized. It's not like
it's like the Who review, and and John, John used to like it when it was when it was his favorite version of the post who was with when there was just the four of them with Zach, because Zach really had that feel. He had that that Mersey beat kind of thing that Ringo had, and it was Moon that taught Zach how to play. So there was a lot of reasons for that to happen. But I know Pete has him on a real tight leash. You're not going off book, even though it might feel like you are. It's not. So whatever. Anyway.
Speaking of drummers, before we go, Mousy mentioned this last week, and I wanted to put that out there.
Oh, look at that! Who's wearing the police hat?
That's Joe Morello.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Wow.
of course it is. Wow.
And I actually took Joe. That was at the Modern Drummer Festival. And I was working with Joe, and I took him. And the funny thing is, he said to me, Stuart was playing at that. It was like their big anniversary show. And Stuart's band, Gizmo, was sort of like headlining, all the performers of that night. It was like Mangini and all those guys doing their little things. And Joe was just there. He had just finished another master study book and was there like signing his book and whatever. And it was amazing to see all the drummers. As I walked with Joe, it was like watching the parting of the Red Sea of like all these people like, Joe Morello, it's Joe Morello, it's Joe Morello. And so I said, I think Stuart Copeland would probably like to meet you. And I said, I know his tech, my friend Jeff. I said, would you like to meet him? He said, sure, I'd like to meet them. I've heard of the police, he said to me. So,
Yeah.
so we go, and Stuart comes out of his dressing room to meet Joe. And there's people like recording this on camera, the meeting of the two drummers. And Stuart, like a child almost, comes skidding up to Joe and he says, oh my God, Joe Morello, I can't even tell you what an influence you've been on me and so many other drummers. When I hear Take 5 come on in the radio in my car, I literally pull off to the side of the road to listen to it because it's so amazing. I can't even tell you the influence you've been. And Joe says to him, well, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. And I really like that theme song you did for that show, The Equalizer. So I was like, what the fuck? That's all he knew of Stuart, was that he wrote the theme for The Equalizer, the TV show from back in the 80s or whatever it was.
I didn't even know
And it
that.
was programmed on a DMX drum machine.
I didn't know that.
How
But he
weird
didn't
is
know
that?
So, so then we stuck around and we were sitting backstage. And when we got in the car on the way home, I said, so what did you think about it? And he goes, oh, I really liked what he did. I thought it was going to be some of that rock crap that they played. So he said, but I was very impressed. And I thought what he did was really different and very interesting. And then he said to me, and now I feel like a total jerk. So literally every day for the next how many years, Jeff, he'd say to me, the next time you talk to your friends Stuart and Jeff, he goes, please apologize, because I didn't realize like the whole thing, like he haunted me night and day. So finally, I think I emailed you once, Jeff, and I said, Jesus Christ, please tell Stuart that, and Stuart didn't even like remember the whole conversation. I think he was kind of just starstruck with like meeting, Joe Morello, one of his probably big influences and idols, that he didn't even, it wasn't even like a thought in his head, like that he could even think to be insulted. But yeah. And
Did
that
Joe
was that
stayed
day.
for Gizmo?
Yeah, we were sitting backstage. Yeah.
Did he see Stuart throw a stick at the monitor
He
engineer?
did see Stuart. Well, as much as Joe could see. Actually, I said, holy shit, Stuart just threw a stick at the monitor mixer. So he was like, well, and Joe, of course, a jazz guy,
he
he's
can't
like,
see, yeah.
who needs a monitor? Like, so he said, yeah. He's like, so
What is that? What is that?
exactly. He would always used to say to me, don't ever put a hole in my my bass drum. He never called it a kick drum. Don't ever have them put a hole in my bass drum. That's not how you mic it. I was like, okay.
Well, it's not how you do something until it's how you do it. And and speaking of how you do it, is that your pasture, Angus?
Yeah, that's my new pasture.
Ah,
Uh-huh.
what is
Space
that?
debris.
Is it past
Oh,
your bedtime. I think.
Three?
Yeah.
Nice.
All
Very
right.
nice. Is it past your time? I mean,
Yes,
you know,
it's
I see you
past your
scrolling.
Yeah, it's past
Oh,
pasture.
check out
Past
Moonraker.
pasture.
No, that's mine is that's the surface of Mars behind me.
Moon. Oh,
Mars.
Mars.
Yeah, I'm
Mars.
see. I'm gonna have to get
There's
there.
beach.
What's
I'm gonna
that,
have to get
Tom?
there.
The drum.
Joe and Mousy know what that is, right?
Yes, I do.
What
Look,
is it? The
Oh,
Tom-
I know what that is too.
What?
That's a cone, the coil, of a blown. I don't know if it's a Gauss. Is that like
oh
a?
my God.
It was a JBL sub that is in the pasture, definitely.
Wow, that's a horrifying thought.
Hey, Joe, are you at the racetrack?
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, actually, because we were talking about racetracks before, and Monday is the anniversary of Altamont, and that's Altamont Speedway
Oh, wow.
with horses as a
Wow.
pasture. So it's Altamont Speedway pasture, new Speedway boogie for you deadheads, and so Monday we can all remember, the end of the dream, and
Yeah.
Altamont and all that went happened there. And by the way, we started this show with Steve talking about the death of Spock and how sad that was. And Mousy had Genesis was her first show, and Jeff too. But Genesis brought Spock back to life.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Right.
So we came full circle in this show.
Ooh. What was that you just put up, Steve? I didn't see it.
That is
Still wrapped.
it's still wrapped. Now let me just we were talking about Star Trek the other day, right?
It's a Christmas
Ah.
And you see, it's and I think you remember me telling you that I had the tail number NCC 1701 on my bass drums, right? I mean, and I just told the Star Trek story that they're your friends, Steve. I said, and I forget why I wanted to have, but it's there. I mean, that's the NCC 1701. It's the
That's the
shuttlecraft.
Yeah, shuttle.
And so I said to Laura, I ought to show this. It's Christmas time. Where's my Star Trek ornament? Because it's an ornament. It lights up. You plug it into the thing, and it
which he's never used.
Well, of course not. It's vintage.
Right.
So
I'll
she
put it
said,
on
"Oh,
eBay."
I have it in a pile with some other stuff I want to sell on eBay."
That's
It was
right.
like,
It was
what?
on the pool table. Now, Keith, just to let
I
you
had to
know,
rescue it. I had to rescue my.
let's let Keith know when we're leaving the show.
All right.
Steve always says, "If I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture."
Hence the
So everybody
pastures.
started putting up their own.
Everybody
kind
had
of
their own
pasture.
pasture. Yes. So that's
So that's what the
it's not
craziness is.
mandatory,
Nope.
but you feel free to get as creative as you like.
Well,
And wait a
Booker
minute,
didn't do it for a year.
I want some props from Tom Heinisch from knowing that that's a blown voice coil or whatever.
I'm giving you props on that for sure. That's
impressed.
you know
I'm
not
impressed.
something you would normally pay attention to.
You know what? Booker, you were not in the room when Mousy showed her dog. Her dog's name is Miles Davis, and she named it that because he wouldn't drink out of a plastic bowl, and Miles Davis wouldn't drink out of a plastic cup.
Wow.
Yeah, and Booker has a picture of Miles Davis right
But don't
there
let
behind him.
that throw you.
That's the.
Man,
Oh well, let me move
Where's
that.
your Miles
I
Davis,
got
Mousy?
there you go.
I
There
threw
he
him
is.
out.
There he
Where's
is.
yours, Mousy?
I threw him out of the room because he was getting a little antsy in here. So
Yeah,
okay.
it did happen. It happens.
That
Yeah.
picture of Miles Davis, you walk around the room, his eyes follow you.
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, he follows you all around.
That's scary. That's scary. Well, that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
I'm going to head off for the weekend, kids.
I made
Anybody-
homemade brownies.
Anybody gigging? Yeah, she
What
makes
did you make? What did you make?
brownies.
My mother's recipe.
Her mother's recipe. That's how
Who's
she.
gigging?
Nothing
Anybody?
illicit in them.
Not
Who's got a
chicken
gig?
parmesan?
No,
No,
chicken
no.
parm. I made actually something called chicken spaghetti, but it's not like Italian.
It's weird, man, but
It's a casserole.
it's like it's a I guess it's a Louisiana thing. And
I'll show you these brownies.
it's wild, man. It's good.
It's a delicious.
It sounds horrible. Chicken spaghetti. It sounds like if you're from New York, you're thinking, what the is that?
Is that like chicken tetrazzini or something?
No, it's nothing like that. It's if you're really interested, I'll have her send you the recipe because it's ridiculous. They just fucked it up when they named it that. They should have called it something like improviso prostituto or some shit. Chicken spaghetti just doesn't do it. And I first heard of it from my sister-in-law, Lori's brother's wife, who's from Pashada.
Kashada.
Oh, excuse me. Kashada?
Kashada.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Well, there you go.
wife
You would have got lost on the way there if you thought it was Kashada.
Here's the brownies.
And look at this. This is so that I won't. So I won't.
Wow.
Go on the show.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what's the last lifespan of those?
I don't know what time
had
is it?
3 laps the next day, 1 time.
Yeah,
Usually we go through the whole
They
plate.
roll it. They roll a few days because they're better when they get stale. It's like, oh
They're
god.
cheery, yeah.
I
Jeff,
had
when are you
I
coming
had-
in, Jeff?
I had the big. What's that?
When are you coming in? Monday? Tuesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah.
All right, I'm leaving Wednesday for Italy, but I
I know
thought
we're
I
gonna
might
pass it. We're gonna pass each
pass
other.
in the night.
Lady-
Okay. All right.
I had the traditional Wisconsin dish, cheese curd, my first day here
Ah,
Wow.
at the bar.
How was it?
It was great. It was really
Yeah?
They're good. Yeah,
Yeah?
good. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
It's great.
So Steve, it'll be on his way Monday.
Oh, Booker, bro, man,
man.
that's huge.
The dad,
Yeah.
That's huge.
you've got it fixed?
No, he didn't get it fixed.
No.
I'll get it fixed.
Is that the Dat Man?
Yes, it's a dat man. It still opens. It's just when I put in the tape, it just goes yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that it's been sitting for a decade and a half. So
Right.
maybe it just needs some, TLC.
Yeah, and I think I know just the person because my guy. Well, listen, it's going to happen, and I think I know somebody that can fix it. And then, should you ever need the DAT machine, we have one.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody got gigs?
Yeah, any gigs?
Not until next week.
Where are you
I
playing
did
next
my
week?
last one last night for 2021.
I got a gig
Really?
with the Pope next week. I got backstage for the Pope.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
Yeah, but you got to quarantine for 10 days before you go.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I know somebody who knows somebody, my friend.
You
Uh,
better
And
not get the Pope sick.
do they give you a lamentation int?
What do you think he'll open with?
I don't know. Jesus is just all right with me, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there you go. Now listen, travel safe. When do you leave?
I'm leaving on Tuesday. Maybe I'll pop in next Friday.
From Italy?
From there?
From
Why not?
Rome.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. It's like a 6-hour difference only, and I'll still be up at that hour, I'm
We
sure.
have no doubts.
Booker,
No
you playing
doubts.
Friday night?
Next Friday, I'm doing a private thing near Philly.
So
So I'm
here.
next Friday, but that Sunday I'm doing a show at LC Rooftop. It's a rooftop in Manhattan, just off of Broadway.
My husband was just there last night for some
Elsie,
kind of private. Yeah.
Yeah. It's we're doing it's my Arthur's Tavern crew. And we're doing a Motown centric show.
Oh,
Motown.
Nice, bro.
Where is that?
It's in the 40s somewhere on Broadway in Manhattan. I'll figure it out before I go there.
Oh. Well, is it open to the public?
Yeah, is it open to the?
It's open to the public, but people have to buy tickets online. So it's this group called Pan the Music, or Pandemic Music, Pan the Music.
Hit us with the thing. We'll put it on the
I
site.
sure will. Yeah, I'll show. I'll do
So we
that.
won't see you Friday night then.
You might still see me because I'll be in a car. I'll either be in a car on my way to Philly, or I'll be in Philly standing on stage in a tux.
Or in traffic.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
No,
I
I won't
have
be-
pictures. We need pictures of
and
you
the
in the
thing
tux.
is that I'm just going to drive to the drummer's house in Jersey, and then he's going to drive the rest of the way to Philly.
Well, we want to see you in your
Yeah,
tux.
we want to see that.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute.
Well, you have a picture of Booker in a tux?
I want to see that.
Oh, I'm going.
Okay, she's got to deliver the line.
Yeah. See you.
Oh,
Andy.
here she
I'm
is.
going.
Whatever you're doing, stop it right now.
Wow.
That's
Is that your
awesome.
mother?
Oh man, that's great.
That was perfect, Judith.
I'm a fan.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yeah, well, that was perfect.
Encore.
Oh my God.
Now, believe me,
You
I'm
had to
probably
be
next.
where you were here that night. It was
Great.
Halloween.
Oh my God, that was.
He was dressed up like Slash.
It was.
Jeff was
What a
doing a
night.
show with Stuart,
Oh,
and he's in the wings,
shit,
and he's
it
talking on the camera, showing us. And she comes up behind him, and
And
we don't know
said-
who she is. And she says, "Whatever that is, you're doing it. Stop it right now!" And we were like,
Oh.
"Oh, Jeff's in trouble.
Oh
We
shit!
gotta get fired. Is that his mother?"
Oh shit, man! 'Cause
Well,
he
his
was,
wife
know,
is a
yeah.
stage manager.
Yeah, so bravo,
Oh,
she's great.
well
And
Nice, Judith. Nice.
welcome to the family.
Yes.
Yeah, come on one of these Fridays.
Yeah, come on in,
Yeah, we
Judith.
Keith,
Yeah.
thanks for coming, man. Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, man.
Keith, great meeting you. If you're on again, I've got a
Thank
blog
you, bro.
for
Very
you next
good.
time.
Meet
And
you all.
Sarah,
Thanks, Tom.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Mousy,
See you, everybody.
Steve,
All
Joe,
right.
Jeff.
Bye. Have a
Good
great
weekend.
weekend,
Take
everybody.
care, guys.
See you later.
Hey,
Okay.
Jake, until next Friday.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
You
You
too,
too.
Larry. Bye, Steve.
Bye.
take care.
Don't eat too many of them brownies in one sitting.
I won't. No, I won't. I
Too
won't.
many brownies in one sitting.
I'll get up and sit back down.
I'll sit out on Monday. You know what? Text me your address.
I will do.
Oh,
I
good.
will do. I'll do
That's
that.
great.
Okay, Booker. Thanks, bro. Thank you, man.
Bye. We love our Friday night crew.
We love our Friday night crew.
That's right.
And here I am in the.
In the holiday spirit.
I'm in the holiday spirit.
Everybody's saying good night.
Holiday
Okay,
spirit.
so let's see. Gail's the first one to start it off. Good night, Gail.
Oh,
Then
good night,
Chris,
Gail.
Good night, Frank. Good night, you guys. Sue,
Frank,
night,
night,
Kitty,
night.
Tiger. Fun show tonight.
It was
Chanel
fun.
sent 500 stars. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, let's give him. Oh wait, no, I can't do it on
Kitty
this one.
Tiger sent a
I gotta go
Christmas
back
tree.
into the ship for that. There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we do have fun.
Yep. There you go. You get the special Christmas bells.
Oh, and nice decorations, Gail said. Okay, so Monday night, remember, we have Secrets and Symbols with Brad and Colby.
That's right. So there's
And it's
going to be
gonna
that.
be turquoise.
Oh,
Turquoise.
cannot forget to tell you this.
What?
We've been getting a lot of questions about how do I do the shirts? How do I do this? How do I do that? Easy. Go to the website. It is thisnamedownhere.com. And
Steve Luongo.
however you say it.
Yeah.
And we cut the price in half for
So-
everybody, which is usually only for musicians and so on and so forth,
Right.
family members. But if you really want one or you want to get one for somebody,
It's already on sale, half
it's
price.
already done. So
Happy
there you go.
holidays.
Happy holidays. And as always, if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.